You won't believe some of the places where black travelers face big problems. Today, we are talking about something every black traveler should know before planning a trip: the top 10 countries where black people are not welcomed. Some places are fun and friendly, but others have racism, unfair treatment, and even danger. In this video, we are not just talking about people staring or acting weird. We are talking about real problems, like places where black people face discrimination, unfair rules, and even travel warnings. If you've ever wondered which countries are not safe or friendly for black travelers, this list will tell you the truth. You might even change your travel plans after this. So, sit back, relax, and get ready for some surprising facts. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell so you never miss a travel tip. 1. Saudi Arabia. Saudi Arabia is rich and famous, but it is not always welcoming to black people. About 70% of worker problems there involve black workers, mostly from Africa. Many work in tough jobs with bad conditions and face unfair treatment. It's not just workers, though. Black visitors and even people living there long-term say they feel unwelcome. People sometimes treat them with suspicion or rudeness in public places like malls and restaurants. Many black travelers say they get stared at a lot or even treated badly for no reason. Some of this comes from history. Saudi Arabia once had racial hierarchies from old times, and some attitudes still exist today. So, if you visit Saudi Arabia, be ready to stay strong because it might not be the friendliest place for black visitors. 2. Japan. Japan is known for technology, sushi, and cherry blossoms, but it's not great at welcoming diversity. About 45% of black people living there say they experience racism. People might stare at you on trains, ignore you in social situations, or treat you differently. Some black people say they feel like outsiders. Japanese media doesn't help much either. TV shows and ads sometimes show negative stereotypes about black people, and believe it or not, blackface still appears on TV. This makes it even harder for black travelers to feel comfortable. Japan has mostly one race of people, and they're still learning how to accept different cultures. So, if you go, expect some challenges, but also enjoy the beautiful sights. 3. India. India is full of color, history, and famous places, but it's not always a good place for black visitors. About 62% of black people who have lived in India say they have faced racism. People might stare at you, make rude comments, or even refuse to serve you. This is because of colorism. In India, many people still believe that lighter skin is better, which comes from old colonial times. Black travelers in India sometimes feel like they are being watched everywhere they go. You might hear uncomfortable questions or whispers from people who have never seen a black person before. While India has amazing places like the Taj Mahal, it also has deep-rooted racism. If you visit, be ready for some challenges along the way. 4. South Korea. South Korea is famous for K-pop, technology, and tasty barbecue, but being black there is tough. About 55% of black people living there have faced racism. Some black travelers say taxis won't pick them up, people stare at them a lot, and some even get ignored in stores. The media also shows black people in negative ways, which makes things worse. Since South Korea doesn't have many different races, people sometimes don't know how to treat foreigners, especially black ones. So, if you visit, be ready for some strange looks and awkward moments. But if you love K-pop or Korean food, it might still be worth the trip. 5. Israel. Israel is full of history, but it can be a tough place for black visitors. In 2023, racial problems involving African immigrants got 30% worse. Black travelers say they often feel like outsiders. Some struggle to find places to stay or jobs because of discrimination. In public, black people might get stared at, treated rudely, or even followed by security. Some people in Israel wrongly believe that black people don't belong there. Because of these issues, Israel is not the best place for black travelers. If you visit, be extra careful about where you go. 6. Ukraine. Ukraine is famous for its beautiful buildings and history, but it's one of the least friendly places for black people in Europe. Black students and visitors sometimes get denied entry to buses and trains. Some say they even feel unsafe walking down the street. Since there aren't many black people in Ukraine, locals often react with surprise or even fear. If you visit Ukraine, be careful, especially in smaller towns. The beautiful sights might not be worth the cold stares and bad treatment. 7. Greece. Greece has amazing islands and old ruins, but it's not always friendly to black travelers. Recently, racism in Greece has gotten worse, especially toward people from Africa. Many black visitors say they feel unwelcome, especially outside big cities like Athens. Some even report verbal abuse or physical attacks. If you visit Greece, stick to tourist areas to avoid problems. 8. Italy. Italy is famous for pizza, pasta, and art, but it has a serious racism problem. In recent years, racial attacks on black people have increased by 35%. Some black travelers say they feel ignored or unwelcome in restaurants and stores. Even in tourist places like Venice and Rome, black people say they experience rude comments, stares, and even unfair treatment. While Italy is a beautiful place, its racial issues make it tough for black travelers. 9. China. China is a huge and powerful country, but it has some of the worst racism toward black people. Black travelers say people stare at them like they are strange creatures. Some get refused service in stores or even treated badly in public. Since China doesn't have many foreigners, some locals don't know how to act around black people. That leads to ignorance, weird behavior, and even racism. If you visit China, be ready for lots of attention, some good, some bad. 10. Russia. Russia is full of history and art, but it's one of the most dangerous places for black travelers. Some black visitors have reported verbal and physical attacks, especially from racist groups. Far-right nationalist gangs have made it risky for black people in some areas. Even in big cities like Moscow and St. Petersburg, black travelers sometimes feel unsafe. Because of this, Russia is one of the worst places for black travelers. If you go, stay in safe areas and be extra careful. Final thoughts. And that's our list. While traveling is amazing, it's important to stay informed so you can stay safe. This video isn't meant to scare you, it's meant to help you prepare. If you know about these problems ahead of time, you can make smarter travel choices. If you found this helpful, hit like, subscribe, and share. If you've traveled to any of these countries, tell us your experience in the comments. Thanks for watching, and safe travels.